Jamie. How's it going?
I'm good. How's it going with you?
Good. Good. I'm good. I'm drinking some tea right now. I got nice and comfy. I worked all week, and that is not fun. That's not fun.
And we're talking about the type of work that has to pay the bills.
Yeah, the money work.
Oh, the money work.
The money work. That's not the creative money work. It's the other one.
Yeah, the other one that has to get done. So tell me about your week. Tell me about your job. Tell us about your job.
Yeah, so I work at a cafe, which is a board game cafe called Snakes and Lattes in Toronto, and I'm a barista. So that's pretty much the basis of it. I show up, make coffee really well, and then I go home. Yeah.
And then you go home.
I go home. Well, it's a great job. Would say I love working there. I love the people, and the work is fine. It's just a job.
So when you have your Joe job, how do you motivate yourself to know that this is not the end and what you can offer, what you can offer people? So for example, as much as my jobs are, I have 2 serving jobs, and as grueling as it is to be on your feet and how I'm getting a real taste of what it feels like to be on the other side of the table, what I try to remind myself is that I'm giving people the gift of entertainment and about them leaving and having a good day.
Oh wow, you're thinking out about it a lot heavier way than I am. I literally.
But maybe that's just what has to keep me going, because at the tail end of the day, it's like I don't want to be here.
Yeah, but I think for me, I'm like, okay, I'm here scheduled from this to this, and yeah, it takes it's 8 hours or whatever. It's a long time, and I have to sometimes be there at 7 in the morning when there's no customers.
Yeah.
But it's, I guess I just think of it as a job. Also, for me, I'm not tied down to it in a way that's I have to be here this many hours, or I can't afford to live, or I can't afford to eat. I'm lucky enough to not be in that situation. So I think for me, if I ever get to the point where I'm like, oh my God, I can't stand another second, I could literally be like, okay, I'm giving my shift away tomorrow because I just don't want to be here.
Do you enjoy the people that you work with? Do you find that it's easy to go to work to go to work because of the people that you work with?
I really like the people I work with, so I'm going to say that first. But I don't think that really affects the job in itself. There's only so much you can talk about when there's, especially when there is actually customers. It's cool, we can chat and whatever, but it's when there's actually people to serve, there's no point in having a conversation because it's just going to get stopped as soon as someone comes in the door. We're just work friends,
Do you find that you get quite a few people that you see as characters? So meaning when I'm doing my whatever line of work I'm in, I try to think of it as a show, for example, or something that I'm doing. So everybody that I work with or people that do come in, I feel are secondary characters. So as soon as I hit the floor, I feel this is the stage I'm on right now. I'm interacting with the audience, or I'm interacting with secondary characters. And then as soon as I'm off the floor, it's I'm off stage. With certain people, the more I speak to them, or the more that I allow myself to know that this isn't something permanent, maybe I find the fun in it more, or at least that's what I've been trying to utilize since I started.
Well, I think that's great. I think what you're doing is great, because that is not what I do at all. I don't serve customers. My job is really only to make the drinks, so I don't interact with a lot of customers. So it's not I ever really build a rapport with someone and get to know their quirky bits and be like, oh, you're interesting, I should watch you or whatever.
Right. So with your job, this week and projects that you've been doing, how do you balance trying to still keep that creative the creative flow going, the stuff that actually stimulates you? I think for myself, that's just basically what I'm trying to figure out on a daily basis.
I mean, you seem to be finding it at work, which is great. I think that that leads itself to something later on that you can write about or you can create with, which I think is great. For me, I tend to use my job, because I have a lot of downtime, as thinking time, which is not always the greatest, because I spend way too much time in my head, to the point that I can create a very bad anxiety for myself. But for me, I think it's just because I'm very aware of all the things that need to get done, and I'm very good at managing my time in that sense. So it's like if I know in a week I have to do the show, I know that this day I have the evening off, so instead of going to see a show, which I would do on some other night that I don't have anything to do, I'm going to sit down and make sure that I get this done. It's not always the most effective, for sure. Like if I need to write a song or something and there's no inspiration, it's not going to be a good song. So I still am aware of that, and I'll give enough time with that to be like, okay, so I'm going to have time tonight to write, but if nothing comes, I have to also schedule time like in 2 days when I have a little bit of free time. Yeah, I think it's really just all about managing time. I'm not saying I'm very good at it, and like, I mean, I haven't written a song in 4 months, and I have an audition next week where I have to bring a song that I wrote. So I ended up writing a song, which is great, and it worked really well, and it's a good song, and I'm proud of it. But for the 4 months, I was stuck not doing anything, and I was like, I need to write a song. I'm telling myself that I need to write a song did not help that. I had a lot of time, I just didn't use it. So it's kind of like trying to figure out what's going to be best for that.
When you feel like you have a bit of a time crunch, so for example, for the song that you wrote, do you just sit down and just whatever comes up, and you're like, okay, this is what I'm presenting? Or do you ever feel like the time crunch works to your favor?
Yeah, I think if I have a deadline, it helps. Like I haven't, like again, in the last 4 months, I haven't really had a deadline. I usually use the show Acoustic Comedy that I produce. I usually use that as an excuse to write something, because I'll be like, okay, I have a show that I host. If I have a song, like it makes me look good, or it makes me look like I have something prepared. Yeah. So for me, I use that, but I recently brought someone else on the project to help out with stuff, so I was kind of giving her a lot of work to do, and I was like, Julie's got it, I don't need to do anything, so it kind of gave me, like, an excuse to just not write anything. So I guess, like, knowing that I have this audition next week, I was like, okay, I actually need to have something, because I'm not just going to show up and be like, oh, I'm going to improvise, like...
Talk to me a little bit more about Acoustic Comedy.
You've been on it multiple times when you were living in Toronto.
Yes, I have.
But it is a show that I created just out of pure selfishness to try out stand-up for the first time. So I was like, I want to do it in a space that I can bring my friends, that I know everyone, it's a comfortable audience, and also give performers that I know who happen to be musicians a place to perform. So it kind of started out as me doing the comedy and everyone else bringing the music. Has now kind of transitioned into just like a variety show with improv, sketch, stand-up, and music. So yeah, and it's been almost going for 3 years now, which is crazy.
Which, yes, I can't even believe it's already going on 3 years, but the development from day one to now it's massive. The fact that you can call it a variety show now, I think, is incredible, and that just shows what you believe in, and what the fact that you believe in others and are willing to allow people to come in and share their creativity. I know when I sort of first had my stand-up set, it was like a bunch of nerves, but at the same time you're so excited because you're like, this is so new, but you're surrounded by other artists who get it as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree with that. And I think it's also I record every show, and I think for those who actually use that device, like, to be able to watch yourself back, I think is so important. To hear that audience's reaction, and to be able to sit, and I'm like, I'm not saying I do this, I should. I mean, I watch myself a lot because I'm obsessed with myself. But I think it's so important as a stand-up comedian, for sure, to hear where the laughs are and to be able to find out, okay, so for a good minute and a half I didn't get a single laugh. Where can I tighten it up but still get the story across? I think that's definitely something that's very important. And my show lends itself to that. Is like, okay, you have this audience that are going to laugh at a lot of things, but they're not going to just do it because you're standing on stage. So do something and see what comes out of it.
When did you find it comfortable to view yourself, like view your recording after? Because I find that my biggest struggle is actually sitting there and
watching it,
being able to watch yourself.
Yeah.
Because I mean, this is one of my New Year's resolutions as a creative artist is to really break through that and just, you know, really find that confidence, because I have the confidence, but at the same time, it's like, am I really that confident then if I can't even view myself? But I don't know if that just because of that's the theater artist in me, and I don't. I mean, I've been taped before on stage, but it doesn't read as being live, like on film or in another production, if that makes sense.
I think it's also because watching stand-up and watching improv filmed is very, very dry, because a lot of that kind of like the energy that you actually feel when you're watching a stand-up comedian or improv, you know that it's like in the moment. You know that they're feeding on the audience, so you can feel that as an audience member, and that's why people like to go see live things. But when you're watching it, and especially if it's filmed on like a not great camera, you're kind of like, oh, like I don't really feel like I'm getting anything from it, so it makes it feel like it's so much worse than it actually was. I think I never really had that. I don't think I ever had that fear of watching myself, because I knew that I would help me learn in some way to be like, okay, what did I do? What did I do wrong? And like, yes, I still had that like knowledge of, okay, my voice sounds so much higher than I think it actually is, and it's so annoying. Every actor has that. Every single actor thinks that when they first hear their voice on anything. But I think also just from doing acoustic comedy, from editing videos, from doing female therapy, and just from, like, any other thing. Like, I used to do vlogs as well, so it's like, I just constantly watch myself to the point where it doesn't even faze me anymore.
I think a big learning curve for myself this year is trying to wear many hats as opposed to just identifying as just an actor. But learning it as well. I mean, learning how to edit your own work, how to manage yourself. What am I taking this gig? Am I not taking this gig? And allowing yourself to know that you can say no. Having a friend like you who's done it is knowing that it can happen and it can be achieved and you can do it, as opposed to, sort of going through the last 10 years outside of theater school thinking that it just has to be acting. Like, creating your own work is more often than not how you're just going to keep going. I mean, unless you're obviously booking professional gig after professional gig, which obviously praise everybody and kudos to everybody who's able to do that. But sometimes that doesn't happen to a lot of people. Anything that can allow you to be creatively fulfilled. And like I said, my New Year's resolution is to watch myself more on video.
Well, this is a good start though, Jay. You're gonna have to watch these videos back, because I'm gonna edit them and you're gonna send them over. Like, you have to watch it. You have to watch it.
Yep, I'm ready for that. I'm preparing myself. I'm mentally preparing myself. I'm gonna wear my confidence hat every time you send back the video.
Great. But I will say that with what we've been talking about, and with like doing your own thing and just, getting it out there, everyone's on their own journey. So it's like, do your thing and don't be affected by what other people's successes are, because yours is going to be so much different than everyone else's.
That's it. That's great, girl. Thanks so much for that. I already feel like now when I go for my walk, I'm going to have like all of this positive mindset to just keep going. So I thank you for that, and thank you for listening, everybody.
Yeah, and contact us with anything you want to say or hear, or what you want us to talk about, or what you want to say, anything. We're here. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, this is what we're here for, and there's more to come, and we just hope that if there's anything that you want to talk about or anything you want to further know about either one of us, then we'll be in touch.
Okay. Bye.
Absolutely. Bye.
You are so special. Maybe you don't think so. If we both took a moment to listen to one another, then maybe we could know what we both know.